Hello and welcome to the last word on Spurs. We are your multi-award winning Tottenham Hotspur podcast and we are back. 90 minutes. 90 minutes away Tottenham are from
Are we back, Rick?
I think we're back. Are we back? We're back, boys. Are we back? 90 minutes away we are from touching the Wembley turf. What an absolutely crazy season to be a Tottenham fan. Honestly, crazy. Look, if you were for the first time, where have you actually been in the last 7-8 years? Where have you been? We're on iTunes, we're on Spotify, we're across all major audio platforms. Of course, on X, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Blue Sky, we're on everything out there too. Look, I don't say this enough on this show. Go and hit like, go and hit subscribe. Take this away to the biggest Spurs audience in your life. And let's get some people out there recognising Tottenham. Because I think I'm about to fall off my chair. Honestly, I've done that once already, far too often in the show. Look, what a game, what a moment that was with Lucas Bergvall at the end, and what a panel we're going to bring to you here. Look, one of the most uplifting panels you're going to see in your lifetime. I'll let Crackers decide if he's part of that one. We're joined by two of British's finest actors in the land. We're joined by the wonderful Ricky J. Norwood making his return after filming on the old Netflix. That's coming your way at the end of 2025, although I'm starting in 2025, so I have to remember that one. We're joined by, look, he is one of our own, and my God, do we need those positive vibes in our life. The Hartman, the heartbeat of this show, is back in the house, and he doesn't need no introduction. Compère events host, does it better than anybody else. Richard Crackers Cracknell is back where he thought he was going to be rotated nicely for Tamworth at the weekend, but in typical Tottenham fashion, God, we're taking out the troops like anybody at the moment. Macca's down at the moment. Patrick's down at the moment. Poor TJ only got his house burnt down. But good news, TJ, bless him, has survived a really, really tragic event in the States. So TJ, my man, we love you, TJ. We're sending you loads of love. He'll be back with us very, very soon. But what a night. What a night. Look, let's turn our attention to, of course, Tottenham Hotspur beating Liverpool. And look, let's open up with a man on this show that Ricky J. Norwood, if there's a man of defence of Ange Postecoglou, you would be it. But look, not just saying that. Look, you are, as many know, you've been on this show for 7-8 years. You're on in the audio days, transition over, of course, to YouTube. One of the most positive, charismatic people that have ever graced this wonderful show. And what an unbelievable, Rick, performance that was from Tottenham against Liverpool, where, look, many going into the game didn't give us a chance, did not give us a chance. And many know out there are injury crisis at the moment Spurs do have. And I know many have said, don't let that completely take over the season for Tottenham. But look, that was an absolutely massive performance from Tottenham. Absolute credit to, of course, our new signing who's been with us just days in Anton Kinski, Dominic Solanke, and also Lucas Bergvall, who, gives Spurs that 1-0 lead over Liverpool in the first leg of the Carabao Cup. Yes, there's still a 90 and a bit minutes to go, but you can only take away what you've got. It's a night where really Rick's Tottenham's young stars led by example against Liverpool side that I have to say this, Liverpool side that are 6 points clear at the top of the Premier League with a game in hand, top of their Champions League with a 100% record. And before tonight, they were on a 24-match unbeaten run. And let's, as I said to you there, Rick, no one really gave Spurs a chance. How do you feel after that?
And there was also the Jace stat as well, Ricks. What was the Jace stat?
Jason McGovern, bless his heart. I keep
getting bless you, Jace. I miss you as well.
Even keeps it. Bring Jason back. I'm not sure you'll want him back if he tells you how defensive he is in terms of certain caliber of people out there. So this stat out there from one of our own, Jason McGovern, is that Spurs have only beaten Liverpool in 3 of the last 27 attempts. And Ange Postecoglou has masterminded 2 of them. So there's your Ange stat. Rick, take us away.
Mate, first and foremost, I am buzzing. I think we all needed that. For me, it's a just rewards for all of the hard work that these boys have been putting in for these tumultuous, I can't even speak right now, it's so late in the UK, but these really kind of horrendous waters that we've been sailing into. With all of the suspensions, with all of the injuries, with all of the lasagna gate illness that repeated on us, over the last couple of weeks, refereeing decisions, VAR decisions, there's been you know, there's been more than there is for Tottenham. And we normally get it either which way. But the one thing that I've seen, even though the results haven't been as positive as we would have liked them to be, the one thing that I've continued to see is those boys run and work and fight and continue to play the Ange way and continue to play for a win. Whether we're 5-1 down or whether we're not in the game at all, they have continued to keep fighting and to keep kind of back in this manager and back in this system and back in the way that we want to play. And you know, we haven't got our just rewards for it. And with the results that come in, of course, you've got to be critical with those. But tonight, in arguably the most important game of our season, in a cup game where we are desperate to get some silverware, all of us, you know, fans, especially players, managers, the lot, the whole club, we're desperate for it. So tonight was one of the most important games against, like you just said there, one of the toughest teams, arguably one of the best, if not the best team in Europe right now. And the young ones have pulled through. You know, there's been effort, there's been fight, there's been dedication for the young goalkeeper to come through as well and just be calm and assured and composed. Bergvall's been growing week in, week out. You know, they say that you grow the most through adversity and that you've got to go through, you know, the fire to reach the paradise sort of thing. And these young ones and these new boys that are at the club have definitely done that. And we're seeing that. We're seeing that going through these hard times is bringing out the true character of them and is, you know, toughening them up and giving them a thicker skin to play for Tottenham. But they are up for it. And me, my friend, like, you know, I've backed Ange and I will continue to back Ange because I see the long-term plan there. And also I see those players backing him. So I'm going to stand with the players and I'm going to stand beside the manager and I'm going to say, well done to every single one of you boys tonight because you deserved it. You deserved a win against Newcastle. You've deserved a couple of wins this season. But you know what, tonight, well done, boys. Well done. Because we know what you were going through and you got the job done. It's only half time, but you got the job done tonight. So big up yourselves.
Rick, thank you so much. And I have to keep reminding ourselves here, we're still 90 minutes away. Yeah, still 90 minutes away. We are still 90 minutes away. It feels it'll be like a long 90 minutes and that we know how tricky Anfield will be, but, you know, fingers crossed, barring any more, let's be honest about it, issues that we're going to have in terms of injuries. We will have Ben Davies, we'll have Mickey van der Ven, we will potentially have Vicario back for that game, we'll have Christian Romero back for that game. So look, it's going to be an interesting, of course, next few weeks to come. Let's go to Dow next. Dow, look, it's a big win for Ange Postecoglou's Spurs and a big win for him personally, but we can't get away from that fact. You know, we know the pressure that's been on the manager over the course of the last few weeks. But look, the reality is, you know, that's only the second time this season Liverpool's Arne Slot side haven't scored this season. You know, and such a big response to the 6-3 result, which was only 17 days ago. You know, the new man, Kinski, will come on to what a formidable performance that was from such a young man. I mean, Archie Gray, Dow, you've often really given him such praise on this show for such a young man who's played in every position bar the one he wants to play. You know, first time in his career at a new club. And you can just see with Archie Gray and the likes of a lot of these players now that are really being given their opportunity. Jed Spence, Lucas Bergvall. I mean, again, Dominic Solanke. I can't get away from Dominic Solanke's work rate. Just phenomenal, really. I mean, it's a night where, Dow, characters stood up. And how many times have you said on here, characters need to stand up for Tottenham?
I've said it a million times, and that's what I've been looking for. I've been waiting for the individuals on the pitch to show they want it. Show they want it as much as we want it. I showed in my tweet today. All I said was I was hoping for hope. That's all I wanted today, hoping for hope. And that's what we got. We got the night we all deserve as Spurs fans to be excited about the next game, to be excited about the future of Tottenham, to be in a place of going, this looks good. Now, I know we've not felt that. And I know Ricky made a great statement when he said earlier about that now we've been through a horrible period. I won't try and say the word you said. We went for a horrible period and it's not over yet. But what we're starting to see is there are glimpses, there are moments, and today is a big one because Liverpool are Liverpool right now. They're playing extremely well. Yes, they made changes. Yes, they changed up their side, but they've got a phenomenal squad to do that. And they still have some elite players on that pitch, and elite players came off the bench to win that game. And our team, man for man, were tremendous. I don't fault anybody. And what I'm so proud of is the fact that as fans, there are a number of us that doubt Ange ball. There are a number of us that doubt the depth of our squad. There's a number of us that doubt the manager. There's even more of us that doubt our board. But today we can all be unified in one thing, is that Tottenham as a unit gave us something to be proud of tonight. They gave us a performance where every fan goes to work tomorrow wearing their top, wearing the tie, wearing the scarf, wearing whatever it is, the little emblem to remind everyone in the workforce, that's who I support. Yeah, that's who I support. That's what everyone can do tomorrow. We ain't had that for a little while. And that feels good. And what that does is that puts a smile on our faces to go into the next game. And if it is a game where it's rocky again, remember, we ain't got no one back for the next game. It's still going to be these boys knackered after today going into the next game. But maybe we give them a little bit more grace. And I hope that as a fan base, the ones who are the angriest, you know, the angry ones in our fan base, we will get the texts off them, one of them, Matney Costa. You know, the ones who are angry, the angry ones. I hope today.
I kind of say, as angry when we were 10 unbeaten at the start of Postecoglou's reign, I loved him for it.
But you know what I love?
Even when we started on the Nuno, it wasn't great. But listen, I love it. We all love it. All love it.
But what I love today is every one of them can smile today because as fans, that's all we want. We don't want negative. Yeah. We want the positive. But today we're all together in the positive. We're all together in that moment going, it worked tonight. It's a great night to be a Spurs fan. We're very happy. We're not silly. We know it's only half time. But it's half time when we're in the lead. It's half time when we go to Anfield with a notion going, don't lose. It's not about winning. We don't lose. We can go in and get a draw and we're through. You know what I mean? There are different elements now to that game which gives us hope. And as I said, I was hoping for hope and I got it. Thank you, Tottenham.
Listen, Dal, thank you so much. The reason why I've held Cracks back is I can't afford Cracks to a hamstring. He's got all of January to come on this bloody show, so I'm trying to ease Cracks in generally. I'm joking. Now I think Cracks. I dare ask Cracks if he looks at the Tamworth game. I'm worried he might sprain something. Cracks, look. Can I just say at the very top of this point? Look, I think many make this point. And Matt Joho, one of our regular viewers and listeners out there, makes this point. Kinski 21, Porro 25, Dragoshin 22, Gray 18, Spence 24, Bergvall 18, Johnson 23. I mean, the future is really, really bright. And I will make that point. Look, that did feel like a real significant win for Tottenham. And look, I can't get away from it as the boys have touched upon there. We know we've got a second leg to come. There's no doubt about it. We're going to have to go to Anfield in one of the toughest venues in footballing history and ride out there. We're going to have to ride out. So it'll be interesting how Spurs deal with that. But look, all we can deal with is the present. And look, a first win, let's be honest, after a pretty awful 4-game run, we played, and credit to Ange Postecoglou for this, Cracks. This is why I wanted to come to you on this point. We did play a much more controlled, a much more patient, a much more, I would say, calm approach to our game and steadier as well. There was a real control to the way Tottenham played during that 98, 99 minutes in the end. And, you know, again, I will make this point just to be very, very clear. You know, players like Kinski, top debut, Bergvall, decisive. You know, again, I'll make this point. That for Liverpool was their 20th League Cup semi-final, right? Which is a record in itself. And they've won the competition 10 times overall. I think it's more than any other team. So this team or this football club or whatever you want to call them, this institution, are used to winning. They are used to creating history. Us, on the other hand, we know we've waited 17, 18 years for a trophy. That result means everything to us as a football club. And you saw how excited it was for me at the start and how positive I've been throughout the journeys of the Cups. You know, I make it very clear on this show that for me, I want to see Tottenham go and win a cup. And look, I want us all to be there, all together at Wembley, amongst all of our special Spurs friends that we've got out there, because that will be special with us all being together, seeing us win. But it is a night that you have to credit Ange Postecoglou for the way he tactically set Tottenham up, for the way players are taking their opportunity. And we know, look, it's been a really injury hit last 7, 8, 9 weeks. And we've never got away from that on this show. But at the end of the day, look, winter could be over soon. We're approaching more happier times. Are we turning a corner here, Cracks? What do you think?
Blimey. There's a lot to unpack there, Rick. A hell of a lot. Look, Firstly, I want to wish Bentancur all the best, because whatever's happened there, that looked quite nasty. Obviously, don't want to speculate as to what that is, because I've seen some quite terrible tweets going around this evening with people suggesting this, that, and everything else. So whatever it is, you know, we just send him all our love and all our best. And as you said as well, with TJ and what he's going through in the States with the fires and everything, a big load of love to him too. So look, to tonight, Rick, that was exactly the type of performance that I think myself, and I think you as well, excuse me, was looking for from an Ange team. It was a little bit more controlled. It was a little less Ange ball, if you like. We didn't push up as much as we normally do. We just looked a little bit more solid in midfield, and tactically it was still great. It was brilliant. It was still getting forward, getting on the front foot, but with just a little touch more restraint. It's not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It was just a little bit more of a grown-up performance. And when I say grown-up performance, for that type of performance to come from nothing more than babies, children, literally children out there, 18, 21, 22 years old, was just quite phenomenal. When you look at what had happened at the start of that game with Bentancur, and to see a teammate, a brother, if you like, of the team in such distress, can be really, really off-putting for any seasoned professional. Now put that in the laps of, you know, some really young players, and you're asking them to settle down once again and play a game of football versus what is undoubtedly one of the world's best teams, was just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Look, with regards to Ange, you and I and the butchers and the bakers and the candlestick makers that watch, and contribute to this show so brilliantly, with the other guests and the people that watch, we can either love him or hate him or be indifferent to him, but be under no doubt that the most important people that need to buy into Ange are indeed buying into Ange. That performance tonight from them players, there's nobody there that's gone like, no, I'm not having him. Like he's not for me. They are shitting bricks and running through walls for that man. And that tonight was fantastic. So, you know, whatever we think of him, and whether we think this a long-term solution to what we need, or wherever you are with him, those players are having him. They are absolutely having him, and we saw that tonight. And if that's the case, then what I think is for the birds. It is it's just for the birds. It doesn't matter what we think. They want him. They're playing for him. And they're doing it for Tottenham in the name of Tottenham Hotspur. Thank you very much. That would do for me. So what I think is neither here nor there. It was a fantastic performance this evening. It's something that I feel sorry for people that don't like football, Rick, because, you know, for every one of these performances where we come on here and we're absolutely on our chin straps with what we've seen, and then you get this, the highs that it throws you up into and the lows it takes you to are just magnificent. Football is such a brilliant, brilliant sport, you know, absolutely up in the air tonight. And then we get knocked out at the weekend by Tamworth and we're all over the place again.
Don't do it.
But you know what I'm saying.
It's who we are, mate.
It's who we are, mate. It was a fine performance this evening. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, there's the details of which we'll go into, but overall, It was just the character, Rick. It wasn't the win. It was the character that the
Totally
players showed tonight.
Totally
it was
agree.
spot on.
Oh,
Spot on.
Oh, man. You know what, Crack? You make the point there. I do need to highlight. I mean, I already have highlighted some of the players, but, you know, for a goalkeeper that has walked into the club only 3-4 days ago in Anton Kinski, he jumps in the crowd to hug his sister. He's wildly cheered by the fans and embraced by, I say, family at full time. A clean sheet on debut against Liverpool. You know, and I've got to say, there's a few brilliant saves in there and a superbly assured display on the ball after, like I say, I make that point a mere couple of days in the country. You know, Kinski is the second goalkeeper to get a clean sheet against Arne Slot's Liverpool across any competition. And the 21-year-old made 6 saves and prevented 1.45 goals in an excellent Tottenham debut. You know, teams have kept clean sheets for Liverpool this season, Nottingham Forest and Tottenham. That is the end of that list. And only one of those teams did it with 3 of their 4 first-choice defenders injured. So you have to give credit where credit is due. And I make that point, what a night it has been for Spurs. And again, I will say, you know, we made a laugh and joke with Jason about the Ange stats out there that I've been reading on a lot of these shows recently. That, again, I have to just, you know, we always, I feel, could have the tough conversations on here, and we always will have those tough conversations on here. But at the end of the day, look, that is just Tottenham's 3rd win in 27 against Liverpool, and 2 of them have been, and 2 out of the 3 have been masterminded by Ange Postecoglou. So you have to give credit where credit is due. He got it absolutely tactically spot on, and the players and Ange were rewarded for their efforts after what has been a really, really tough last few weeks. And this is, if anyone wants a stat out there to kind of sum up what it's like being a Tottenham fan and the nature of just Tottenham in general, I can't give you a better stat than this, right? Which is just sums up our football club. Spurs' last 6 wins have been against Man City, Aston Villa, Man City, Southampton are in there, Man United and Liverpool. I mean, what a basket case of a football club. I mean, honestly, what a football club. You honestly could not make it up. I mean, Arne Slot's been talking to the media after the game. And look, I know there's been some controversy around the fact whether Bergvall should have stayed on the football pitch. I know, again, that, to be fair, isn't it, you know, we have the, isn't it, I always think what goes around comes around. You know, the Sissoko handball from all those years ago and a lot of decisions that have gone against Spurs. I mean, look at Newcastle on the weekend, for example. But Slot said, look, on Sunday, our decision went against Spurs. Today in this game, he went for them. Unlucky for us, but there's no doubt about it. Bergvall should have been sent off for a second yellow. And when Arne Slot was asked about the referee announcing the VAR decisions, he said, I would have been more interested if he explained why he didn't get the second yellow card than why he cancelled the goal. So, yeah, Arne Slot not happy at all. But as Tottenham fans, we're jubilant. But what we are going to do, we are going to go for our first break of the show for our listeners on audio. You're going to hear from Big Dreamer in Anton Kinski, who obviously was making his full Spurs debut, and the work rate, the workhorse, and I think many have said all season what a great player he's been for Tottenham. That's Dominic Solanke. So we're going to take you into that break, hearing from those 2 fine gentlemen. We're joined on this show by the wonderful Richard Crackers Cracknell, Compère events host. You know it, he does it, and I'm joined by the 2 of finest British actors in the land, Ricky J. Norwood, Darren Hartman are on your screen, and we've got over 8,000 of you that are watching this show live. Thank you so much for all your incredible support. Keep liking, keep subscribing. We're going to bring you in the thoughts right now of those 2 players of 2 out of the 11 that were absolute soldiers during that game for Tottenham Hotspur. Let's hear from them right now. Dominic Solanke and, of course, Tottenham's new signing, Anton Kinski.
Guys, well played. Antonin, a special night for all concerned with Tottenham. For you, maybe even one of the best nights of your life?
Yeah, definitely. I would say I'm a big dreamer. I always make my own visions of the future, but probably this dream, I have never dreamt this one. So yeah, amazing, and I'm really happy for the whole club because I came 3 days ago and everything works so good. All the people are kind. So yeah, I'm so happy for me, definitely, but also happy for them and for the whole team that we made it. But still, yeah, just the first leg.
Dom, so you've lived something like Antonin's lived tonight. You know, coming into a big club, having to make a debut, the nerves and anxiety that come with it. How well has he done this evening?
No, it was phenomenal, honestly.
to be fair, he came 3 days ago, 1 or 2 training sessions with us, and to look that comfortable out there, that confident, can't give him enough credit.
Thank you.
I mean, you probably don't even know all the lads properly yet, do you?
Yeah, but I have to give the credit to him, you know. But yeah.
Why?
Because I haven't played with a better striker so far.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Are we red? Are we red or no?
Yeah, I mean, I tell you what, was it the first touch? Was a flick over Jota's head? I mean, you've got to have some confidence to do that, Dom, haven't you? Yeah, nah, for sure. Like I said, he looked like a natural there, like he's been training with us, playing with us for years. So, yeah, especially at his age as well, to come in and have the impact he did so soon. This is a big credit to him. And yeah, to have him at the club now is great for us. We're going to need him. Got a lot of big games coming up. Still a lot of games left of the season. So yeah, hopefully we can achieve something special.
Yeah, it looked very emotional at the end. Who were you hugging?
It was my sister, because yesterday I got to know that there is a possibility of me being in the goal today. So I called them immediately, and my sister came, her boyfriend, and my parents. So I was so happy to have them here in such a special night.
Was that because your dad was a goalkeeper as well, played for Czech Republic? Was that him just behind your sister?
Yeah, it was him. Yeah, I hope he's proud. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure he is. That's the thing, isn't it? I mean, you know it as well, Dom. It's not just a special night for you; it's the whole family.
Yeah, definitely the whole family, because my grandfather was also a goalkeeper, so he was watching as well, definitely. So I hope they are all happy, and I'm happy for them.
Well, there you go. Those were the words there of Dominic Solanke and Tottenham's new goalkeeping signing, Ange. Look, I mean, he was, quite frankly, he jumped in, of course, to the South Stand at the end there and was given so much love and adulation, and rightly so. And I think, you know what, Rick, you always make this point that there's certain results that actually do bond the group and do bring players together. Do you feel like results like that? And again, I know I've got to qualify and say this. We are Spurs fans. We know it's only the first leg. We know we've got a second one to come. But does a result like that, with a performance and with the way so many young players have really rose of age, to be honest with you, against a Liverpool side, we mentioned it, were 24 games unbeaten, a side that are top of the Champions League, top of the Premier League, game in hand. I mean, what will that do to the players, and the confidence will that give them ahead of a massive month for Tottenham when we know games are coming thick and fast?
You know what? It fundamentally releases the pressure gauge. Do you know what I mean? It just opens the tap a little bit. The last month, 6 weeks, it's felt like we've been up against the ropes, and we've been taking combinations from Tyson Fury, Usyk, and AJ all at the same time, and we've just let them go to the ribs. And there's been a couple of times we got a couple of jabs in, but then we was like, all right, I'm fine, back on in the corner of the ring, and just being beaten to bits. But like, even when it comes down to the performances, Ricks, it's like when I think back to that Liverpool game, that 6-3 game, at 5-1, these boys didn't stop trying. They didn't stop fighting. Yes, all right, it was 5-1, but I've seen Tottenham teams before. I've seen players give up before. I've seen teams give up before. Like, all right, it's 5-1. We're not going to get back into this. We'll consolidate a little bit. We'll bring on some kids and give some people some minutes, because this game's probably gone anyway. But I didn't see that against Liverpool in the league in that 6-3. They kept pushing, they kept fighting. They brought it back to 5-3, and then because we pushed so much, there was gaps at the back, and it was.
I can't believe they're stopping Rick in full flow. Well, they're stopping me in full flow. They've stopped Rick in full flow. I will just go to Dow to pick up there whilst we do work on Rick's feed. It's not often Rick is stopped on this show, quite literally by himself. Now, I will make that point, and I'll come over to you on this as well, that, we talk about such a young group that have needed guidance, they've needed 100% at certain times direction. It just feels like a performance like that, as I mentioned there to Rick's, is so important for the group that it will give a massive confidence, as we know, ahead of what is an absolutely hectic, crazy schedule to come in January, where, as we're acutely aware, you're looking at games, every 3 to 4 days, some massive games in there. Tamworth in the Cup again. We don't want to underestimate that. That'll be tough. We've got Arsenal away, of course, next week as well. We've got Everton away as well after that. You know, Hoffenheim, and then we've got Leicester and Elfsborg. So it is, let's be honest about it, Dal, quite a decisive month for Tottenham in terms of the cup competitions and in terms of also trying to get our Premier League form back on track. Is that the result that really you feel could galvanise this group ahead of a massive month to come?
I'm going to say something quite left of that. I feel that the group have always shown that they're together. And I think Cracker's made a really good point early doors that you see that they are working for Ange. They're bought in, they're buying in, and they're there. And I think what tonight has done is unified and brought together our fan base. I think we're going to give these players their energy because we're going to buy in a bit more today. We're going to give them a bit more love. I really hope that we can just silence the noise of this Ange out maneuver and go, we're just on the cusp of building something. What are we doing? Let's just give these young boys, these babies, these kids who are working their socks off for a gaffer that they believe in a system that they trust. Let's back them. Let's back them with every bit of our soul, because right now there's so much still to play for. And we're getting players back, and they may all come back at the right time. And it may be that we go on the run and we win this cup, we win the FA Cup, we win the European Cup. We could do it all. Everything is still to play for. So nothing is off limits. And I think it's a time where, as a fan base, a night like tonight brings us together. And Ricky said the team's been taking punches, and a lot of those punches have been from us. A lot of those punches have been us being frustrated and annoyed because we're at the most beautiful stadium and we've got all this money that isn't being spent, and we've got a team that's underachieving, and we should be up there competing with Arsenal and Man City and rare tear, and the frustration is building and building. And today, the kids did great. Ange did great. And Crackers made the point about there was a different Spurs in terms of dropping off. Ange has been doing this. People have been saying Ange has no identity or they don't understand it. I really hope that you're starting to see it, because it's very clear. And if you don't know football, drop me a DM and I'll help you out, because it's very clear the systems. And today it was intelligent, because when we did press, everyone knew where they were pressing. Bergvall knew where to go. Solanke knew where to go. They knew when to corner Liverpool and when to try and really apply the pressure, because that's training. That's an understanding of a system that is worked. And they knew when to drop off and go, let's save our leg. Let's be halfway. Let's do it like basketball does. Let's wait for them to get here, and then we go hard. And we know the position we want to catch them, and we know what we want to do. And I think credit to these boys, credit to Ange, and let's stay positive. I know me and Ricky are very much people who, Norwood, are very much positive thinkers. And sometimes it's not because it's being happy-clappy or being deluded or being eccentric or just trying to be left of the truth. Sometimes being positive allows things to happen. Even when you're in your dark days, even when it's not great, by being positive, you find something to get you out of it. I don't want to sit here and say that the last month's been great, but there's been elements where it has been good. And today was a real highlight of that. So we are together. We are unified. Let's stay together. And also on the signing of our kinky keeper, as he's going to be called, he's sexy and he's kinky.
Michael Dawson called him kinky.
I know, but you know Dawson's always going to get it wrong. There's a credit to our recruitment team, because apparently, from what I'm hearing, this is 6 months early.
Yep.
He's been on the radar. They've watched him. They knew, so that's why they could activate it so quickly. That's credit to the team. They've seen the player. They know we need one. We've already identified his skill set. Let's get him now. That's what we're building. Look at the young team that we have. If you're any team in Europe, our youngsters are terrifying. They're dangerous. They've got the potential to be awesome. We've got the potential to have a squad that you go, oh my gosh, these 21, 18, 19, these young boys are getting such an exposure right now that could really propel them. And Jed Spence, I know people have spoken about him not playing and blame Ange. Listen to what is being said about Jed. I know people close to him. When his head is focused, he's tremendous. When his head isn't focused, he's his own worst enemy. And right now, he's being given the guidance to show on the field how amazing he is. And off the field, he's learning. So that's why Ange hasn't played him. He's not been denying that he's a good player. He hasn't shown him that he was mentally ready. And now he is, and we get the benefits of that. So celebrate what is happening in that system. The team's doing us justice. They're doing us proud.
Yeah, they are indeed. I'm going to bring in some of Ange's comments just now that he's obviously shared straight after the game. On Rodrigo Bentancur, he said, I don't want to speculate because I don't really know either the situation. All I know, he was conscious when he came off. Obviously, it was some sort of head injury, but was conscious when he was coming off the field and he's been taken to hospital for observation. But I'm not really clear on how it has happened. Again, it's not really my area. Unless I get a doctor out here, I'm not going to speculate because it's just not fair on people around him. But I can confirm it was a head injury and there was concern from the players out there. So obviously there was something going on. Now, there has been, again, I'm the same as what Crack said earlier. It wouldn't be right to be speculating, but I know there's been certain concerns around. There's mentions about the fact the player fainted. That was reported by Damasio. I think at the moment it would be unfair to be concrete on those claims until we get a full diagnosis, which I'm sure will come from Tottenham in the coming days. And Ange Postecoglou rightly lavished praise on Lucas Bergvall and his performance, said, look, Lucas was brilliant. And like I've said, I've never lost sight of the fact we've got two 18-year-olds who's been playing at centre-half, and it's not even his position. Obviously, referring there to, Archie Gray and Jed Spence. I just don't think people really understand the level of performance that these young guys are giving us at the moment. We had a goalkeeper on debut. We had Jed playing left back. Unbelievably well, may I just add. Lucas is just growing and growing all the time. He's got the ability as a footballer to create space for himself. He's got that quality, but he works awfully hard for the team as well. Like I've said, we've been dealing with some adversity for sure, but we've had some growth in that. And I've got absolutely no doubt that that has been masked by the results and the poor form for sure. But I've got no doubt that when we get our players back, the foundations are really strong with a group of players that can really grow with this football club. And Ange wanted to make that really, really clear that he just feels at the moment, once he does get those players back, and we looked at that list earlier of the players that are out for Spurs at the moment. Again, just for listeners on audio that aren't aware of the size of that, we've got currently out. And look, all these players aren't going to walk into the first team, but in terms of the squad, they've got Fraser Forster out of illness, James Maddison suspended, Richarlison out of a hamstring, Pat Matassar suspended, Ben Davies with a hamstring, Christian Romero with a quad, Mickey van der Ven hamstring, Destiny Udogie hamstring, Gunnar Vicario with an ankle, Wilson Odobert with a hamstring. And I look, again, there's many fans out there that do feel maybe with some of these hamstring injuries, these have been maybe preventable. This may have been, again, due to the training methods and the game intensity. But at the end of the day, these have massively, massively affected the football club. But we also can't get away from the fact, and I made it very, very clear on this show, Tottenham being 12th in the Premier League is not acceptable. And there's no way you can dress that up. You can't whatsoever. Results should have been better, but that is the reality of where we are. And did actually just want to say on Kinski that, look, he was absolutely brilliant. I got the sense when I spoke to him before we signed him that he had a bit about him in terms of his assuredness. That probably bellied in years. I threw him into an absolutely mammoth task, a mammoth game, and to play against arguably the best team in the world at the moment in a big game, a semi-final, he just handled it awfully well. Credit to Johan and his team, and he's obviously referring to Johan Langer there. They were really, really big on him as a footballer and who's going to fit our style and work really, really hard. And to make it happen now, you can see why he's just quite simply an outstanding formula. And again, I'm going through the team here. And I can't help it. I'm so sorry. Ange and Archie Gray. I hope when we saying this, guys, so I'm taking so much airtime here. He said, look, Archie Gray, for playing every 3 days as a centre-back in a position he's never played, mate. You know, he's never played at all. An 18-year-old. Name me another Premier League team that's got two 18-year-olds, one playing out of position consistently. And I'm so happy they're at our football club. And, you know, in 2-3 years' time, I just pray to God I'm the beneficiary of their talent, mate, because if somebody else is getting them, I won't be happy. I mean, big words there from Ange Postecoglou. And you know what? We cut you short there, Ricks, on this point. I'm going to let you finish off. I'm going to go to Cracks afterwards. You have spoken a lot, Rick, about the growth of the young players. And through the adversity that we're going through here, do you feel quite perversely these players are actually going to benefit in the long run from going through this difficult, tumultuous run of games, Rick? Because let's be honest about it, as fans, it's hit us hard. But as players, and I think you said this again on the show a number of times, that this is a real growth element to the way these players are going to develop and take the bad experiences and learn from them, Ricks.
It's the way that you grow, man, and especially within football. It's the way that you grow within life. You know, when our mums used to tell us not to touch the heat, it's hot. You know, we still all touch the heater because we had to learn the lesson ourselves. We had to feel the pain ourselves to learn the lesson ourselves. So this can only be positive for them young men there. it's, you know, they've had to show up. They've had to take it on the chin. Somebody's had to face those big results and those big losses against us, and they've stood up and they've continued to fight and they've continued to look forward and learn the lessons all at the same time. How many times have we wanted those that come in to grab their opportunity? And these young ones are, you know, they really are. They're not running away from the fight. They're running towards it. They're like, okay, cool. If it's going to be on my shoulders, I'll take it. And that's what Archie's doing right now. You know, and we've seen Bergvall just grow week in, week out. Every single time he gets more minutes and more responsibility, he's doing it. Some of the passes that he was pulling off today, and just the movements and the space that he was finding, Bergvall today, I thought was fantastic. And it just gives you a glimpse of what's to come when he actually does get a couple of seasons under his belt. I think it's really exciting. I think it's also very unselfish from the boss to kind of go, these are the players that I want. If we're going to go the long way round and we're not going to buy £100 million player, well, okay, cool. Well, then these are the type of players that I want. And if we can get the best, then I want the best. And that's what they've done. And, you know, and it's so nice to see them get a result tonight and get the adulation and get the result more than anything, you know. Like I was saying earlier, it's like a pressure valve. And tonight's win just allowed that pressure valve to open, because they haven't been getting the reward for all of the risks that they've been taking, for all of the effort, for all of the fight, for all of the energy, for all of the taking it on the chin. They haven't got their rewards. That has been unjustly taken away from them. But tonight they got it. So tonight they can celebrate. Tonight they can have faith and belief again that this system, this manager, and this way, and these teammates are going to get us to where we want to go. It's all about building on it. It's all about taking it forward. And it's just, I'm just so happy for them that they got it. You know, against Newcastle, I was devastatingly upset just because they didn't, not even a draw, but they should have come away with a win. And I was just so upset they didn't get what they deserved. But tonight we did. And, you know, let's give, like Darren was saying there, let's give the recruitment guys a big hand, and let's give Ange a big hand for not shying away, for taking it, and for keeping that belief and that faith in this system and in the way that we want to play, and that it will breed success, you know. So, yeah, there's so many positives to take from tonight, man.
Yeah, I do agree. And I think, Cracks, you made this point in your opening that, again, I think fans, we can't get away from this, right? Whatever you feel about the manager right now, a key difference, I think, compared to difficult times of the previous managers is that, as you said, Crack, so eloquently in your intro, the players are still clearly giving absolutely everything and their all for Ange Postecoglou. And in the past, we've seen situations where players have stopped fighting for the manager, but I don't really think that's happening, as you've said, Crack. So I'm not asking you to triple down or double down on this, but you know, it's important that we emphasize this point, you know, to try and bring the balance up we always try and do to these shows. You know, again, I'm one that is very much about stats and facts, right? You guys will know that I read out a lot of the stats in terms of the shows, good, the bad, the ugly. I always will try and bring them into the melting pot for the shows. But I think it's really important that we can't get away from the fact that whether you like the manager or you don't like the manager, and Crack, you said this in your intro, the players are playing for him. And now you could argue, look, is it because it's a semi-final of the Cup? But then again, you look at the Newcastle game at the weekend when we're sitting 12th in the Premier League, there's not much riding on it. But it's clear, whatever is happening behind closed doors, he's still getting a tune out of them. So I just wonder, is this now a time where we've got such a crucial month at this football club? Is it now just sole focus on the Cup competitions and giving us our all? Because I'm not getting away from the fact there, Cracks. Look, I'm not saying we're going to win it. I'm not saying, you know, it's a definite, but we are 90 and a bit minutes away from Wembley. We've still got to go to Anfield. We're going to have Mickey van der Ven, Christian Romero, Ben Davis, potentially Vicario back, although Ginski was unbelievable in that game. There is still a lot to be excited about going into the second half of Spurs' season. And again, we've still got the rest of the transfer window to go to. Now, again, you absolutely love it as well as Jason does.
Well, look, those players coming back now rightly have to earn their places back in my book. If you're out there and you're doing that and you're giving your all, I mean, even when we played Newcastle, I thought it was a terrific performance from us. And I think it was just some rotten bad luck with that handball that wasn't given, that saw them get their goal. Other than that, there was good resilience and, you know, a good level of performance. It was fine. I'm always more concerned about a performance, really, or maybe just, obviously it's a results game. So let me rewind a little bit from there. Your performances will always eventually get you results. If you're squirming 1-0 wins every week, well, you win the league and you take it, don't you? But you know where I'm coming from. If your performances are good, they will generally follow that you start to get good, consistent results. If you're squirming 1-0 wins or nicking stuff and being a bit lucky, eventually you will get found out by it. So yeah, when they come back, then they'll have to, you know, get their place back in the team. But the point that was being made on that resilience and a little bit of adversity, there's nothing wrong with that. It builds good character. And I think even just generally in life, I don't think people suck up adversity enough, because it really does shape you as you get older into more resilient, rounded, better adults. And this is what's happening to these young players now. They're going through these adversities. Rick, I moved to the Canary Islands 5 years ago now. And when we went, our two daughters never came with us. One was 18, one was 22, 23 years old. They never came. Never came. Mum and Dad went 2,000 miles away. See you later. Ta-da. Off you go. And they went and picked up, you know, found their places to live. They had jobs and everything. We just left them in London. I mean, you know, but it's built them into like good, resilient adults now. So a little bit of adversity will shape you and will make you better as you get older. So, you know, some of the adversity that we've gone through as a team, you don't want to see, but there was even out of the negatives, the adversity that you faced, you can turn into a positive to take forward into performances later down the line. So yeah, look, come the second leg, we get some players back. Do we do some business in the window and then also strengthen from now? Like Ricky said, it really exactly. Are we going to spend the money? But look, even if we don't spend the money, if you're doing your due diligence correctly, like it seems that we have with this goalkeeper, then fair play. Yep. I mean, if they're going to come in and do the job that you need, then it's not what you spend, it's how you spend it and your due diligence that you do. But, you know, where Ricky said it's a little bit of a release valve this evening, it's also a pressure valve as well, because when you look at the goalkeeper tonight, now Vicario's going to be driving home this evening and thinking to himself, oh, blimey. I mean, he looks another goalkeeper. And so now when I get back, I need to be like bringing my A game to training, to games and training and games, and having some like fire up my backside from a young man that's going to want to come in and take my crown. I've got to be at it. Now it's down to Tottenham to do that across the pitch, to bring in somebody to be up Son's derriere and one in his place, and to be behind Solanke and throwing some fire under him as well. In the middle as well, Kulu. Somebody needs to be in and holding some fire to his feet as well. And then get some real competition in there across that squad, and then see how these players perform. That's what you need. Over to you again, Mr. Levy, Mr. Lang, and Mr. whoever else this week's buying the players, because that's what's needed at this club. Badly needed.
Oh, man. Darren, to come to you before we hear from Ange directly, who, got to say, is an interesting interview we're going to bring to you in a second from Ange, before we do get into a lot of the reaction of that game there. Now, you've also made that point, actually. When it comes to recruitment, it's actually not about the money being spent. It's a lot about the profile and the calibre of the player being right. Is that the key now, Darren, when we're looking at the rest of this window? You know, again, the intrigue will be for players out there like, dare I say, Kalamawani, who's been linked to Richard Rios. We're going to fly him off the tongue. Kusanov, there's another one for you. Get them in your diaries. The reality is, Dal, we're in a situation now that, we have really got to bring in the right kind of profile of players that are going to gel in the camp and not split it. And you spoke a lot about this show on this, Dal, since you've been here for a number of years as well. It is about bringing in the right profile of player more than just spending an amount of money on a player because we feel he looks good for the squad. The due diligence, like you said earlier, Dal, is absolutely key. And you made that point with the signing of Kinski. It was brought forward 6 months, but they studied the character. They studied the discipline of the player to know he was going to be the right fit, Dal.
Ultimately, right now, we need our chairman and our gaffer to be on the same page. They need to have that communication to understand what the gaffer needs and then making sure that they can provide that for him and being open and honest, because we have to be real. You buy kids, you are taking you're taking a shot in the dark. You're going, I hope you develop and grow into what I believe you will become and what we hope you will become. And also that's Levy going, I need a sell on. I need to make profit off you. And the crop that we have are showing a lot of potential. And some of that potential is being used earlier than it probably would have liked to have been used. And I think there is a little gap in our squad between the level of experience that we have and there is that drive that needs in terms of characters and in terms of leaders. And I'd love to see a few more leaders in that squad. And in the times of adversity, you need the players who can pull the team together on the pitch. And I feel that we're missing a few of those. I feel we're missing a few leaders in there that are going, listen, boys, because there are a lot of boys in there going, listen, boys, come on. Like I heard statements that Archie Graves like a big character in the dressing room. I love that. But at 18, I don't want you telling me what to do, if I'm honest with you.
Say earlier, Dal, Kinski 21, Poro 25, Dragishin 22, Gray 18, Spence 24, Bergvall 18, Johnson 23. It goes back to your point there. We've got a lot of young players, but maybe we are, again, there's no getting away from it. We are lacking, as you say there, Dal, to bring you back in that leadership, right, that this team needs and this squad needs.
Just the players who have a little bit more been there, done that, got the T-shirt type players. The guys who, when we're in a tricky situation, have the nous and know how to navigate that and help the young ones, because they're going to make mistakes. They are going to have moments when they are the ones with their head in their hands going, oh, it's on me. Oh, I wish I didn't do that. And they're going to need that support. And I feel that we're missing a few of those elements. And what we have is exciting. It's prospects. It's a bright future. But as fans, we're in the here and now. And the here and now is it's up and down. It's inconsistent. It has moments where it looks good and then it looks really bad. And that's what we have to carry as the fans. The players go through that and they're learning. But as the fans, we go, we want consistency. And the squad being so young, it can't be consistent because as anyone knows as an adult, when you're in your adolescent years, you make mistakes. You live and you learn and you grow till you get to a place where you start to understand things and you cement that and you go forward. So look, let's see what can happen. I love that statement. Let's hope we can make Alan Lanson wrong. Let's hope we can go back to the future. You win nothing with kids. And let's see what we can do. And let's be real here. No one on this panel is getting overexcited. We're not going crazy.
Not at all. No chance. Nah.
We are 90 minutes away.
Get excited. Who does that?
I think, but Rick, the thing is,
just to flesh out, you'll win nothing with kids. Do bear in mind that Ferguson did also have a Roy Keane in the middle with those kids. And the 8th richest club in the world taking millions and millions of pounds not only should be doing their due diligence on bringing these kids in, but also going out and getting themselves that £100 million number 6, that one in the middle that just absolutely pulls everything together and brings these kids through and is almost their father figure in that dressing room. The fulcrum, something that everybody bonds around, that one big leader. So by these youngsters, brilliant when you're doing your due diligence and you're getting that right. But ultimately, the teams that go on to win stuff are the teams that spend the money and bring in that real proven, ready to go quality. So alongside of that, this club does need to buy 1 or 2 ready to go superstars alongside of them.
And you know what, Crack, jump off the back of that, Rick. It's so interesting when you look at some of the fans' frustration right now, which I so get. Like we have like this beautiful stadium and it's elite and it looks fantastic. And then you look at what happens on the footballing aspect, you go, if you gave that investment into it, if you invested what we've done there, that's what we need. And I think we're all at the same.
You saw the crowd as well in that game. You saw the crowd as well. The fans in that game, that drove the team on. I've got to say, absolute credit to the fans. Again, we made a point actually during the week of the preview show that the game went to guest sale. And, again, I mean, friend of the show, and, again, we saw him the other week, Rick, John Wenham, Lily White Rose, again, many will know him from the Lily White Rose account on X, that guy is absolutely massive. And everyone knows, massive Tottenham fan. He invests so much time into the youth. And John made the point, you know what? It's just not easy going to Spurs. The cost of it, you talk about a ticket now, it's 60, 70 quid. That's before you've got the train home and there back before you've had your food and whatever. It's 100 quid day out now to football. That's before you've got kids involved.
Lucky.
That's before you're, But if you're lucky, if you've got kids involved as well. So, I mean, again, it does put it all into perspective. But the way the fans drove the team on, I don't want to get that away from that. The fans were absolutely tremendous there. And this is a club that's been waiting 17 years for a trophy. Against a side that, in Liverpool's aspect, are there season in, season out competing. They changed the manager. They're still up there competing. And this is the difference. Tottenham as a football club, as we know, we've waited a very, very long time for success. And look, if Ange Postecoglou is the man to do it, then fantastic. I see Rick is biting to come back in there. We'll go to Rick and then we will go to Ange Postecoglou. Go on, Rick.
No, do you know what? Again, to jump on the back of the fans, I think the fans have been tremendous for a while, mate.
They've been so patient.
In some of the darkest times, like I say, at 5-2 against Liverpool in the league, I heard massive roars of "Come on, you Spurs!" and because they saw the team continue to push. So those fans in the stadium, I absolutely agree with you, man. Big up to them. And yes, it is tough going. I just wanted to jump on the leaders thing. So I agree with the gentleman here and you, Ricks, where it's like if we could get a monster number 6 in there and really spend well, that it could help everybody, and to have a leader that can be commanding and that knows, how to slow it down, how to press, how to be aggressive at times, and and how to kind of help others deal with tough situations. But right now, the boys in the squad and the boys that are playing right now, they are learning to be leaders by having to go through this fire and this adversity. The fact that they're going through it, and the fact that the manager doesn't have to hold their hand through it. He's letting them walk. He's letting go of their hand and going, no, go on. You've got to do the walk. And I think that is massive character building. And it comes back to, again, like one of the fundamentals that always impressed me when it came down to Ange and when he spoke about players that he wanted to recruit, was they had to be the right character. They had to have the right temperament. They couldn't just come to Tottenham because they wanted to play Champions League. They had to come to Tottenham knowing all of the things that we are faced with year in, year out. The old Tottenham curse that surrounds us, the trophy droughts, the ridicule, the jokes. You've got to come here and be willing to change all that. But once it does change, it will be phenomenal, and you'll be lauded as legends for ages to come, so that is what really impresses me about the type of players that Ange brings in. So again, we're not just going for the flashy one, or we're not just going for the one that the name that we want as fans, the buzz name. We're not going for that guy. We're going for the right profile, the right character fundamentally, and as the gentleman was saying there, it's like the right attributes, going for the right kind of profile of players. That's what the gents said. They said profile. So there are loads of things going on there. I think a leader would definitely help right now, and maybe we could get in. I mean, I don't know how you feel about Douglas Luiz that used to play for Villa, but potentially he could be going on loan, and it's another kind of. It's another one from Juventus.
It's a Premier League experienced player. It's a Premier League experienced player, isn't it? Yeah. Yep.
Maybe something like that could happen until the summer. But again, on what Darren was saying there, let's give those in the scouting department a bit of a hand, because they obviously have certain players and certain positions in place, and they've already identified them early, and that is a massive change for us in itself.
Totally
For us to identify early rather than wait until deadline day. Do you know what I mean?
But this is the time now, Rick, so I totally agree on that now. We mustn't just argue with Crackers now. We mustn't just let up and think, just because we've won 1-0 in the first leg of a semi-final, that we put our feet up now and think, okay, we can take our time. The reality is, look, we are the 8th of January, and this club do need players to come in and actually improve the first team. We mustn't get away from that. But I totally agree with what you've said, Rick, and what Hartman has said, and you Cracks as well, that it's about bringing the right profile, the right caliber, the right character that's going to fit in that dressing room and drive this young team, this young squad forward, and ultimately be there for Ange Postecoglou, right? I mean, again, this is the really important thing. Any player you're going to bring in, not just for the squad, needs to match what the manager is trying to do with the way he wants to play. And I think the key thing is that in the first few minutes of Kinski, we'll come on to it in a second, I mean, the way that guy was flicking the ball up in the air and catching it, you were like, yeah, he's definitely an Ange player. Listen, we're going to quickly hear from Ange Postecoglou right now, who takes us into our second break of the show for our listeners that are on audio. We're going to be back in the next 2-3 minutes. You're going to hear next from Ange Postecoglou, who is 90 and a bit minutes away from taking Tottenham to a cup final. Yep, he is 90 and a bit minutes away from taking Tottenham to a cup final. Let's hear from Spurs' head boss, Ange Postecoglou.
A win like that, how is Rodrigo Bentancur?
Yeah, look, obviously don't have all the information, but my understanding is he's conscious. He was conscious kind of when he got to the dressing rooms. Obviously, we took him to hospital just to get checked over. Worrying and always a concern, but from what I know at this stage, he's hopefully be okay.
It is at the time, isn't it, when you see something like that, really distressing sight. How hard then after that for the rest of the group to refocus and go again?
It's just our lot at the moment, you know. We're having to deal with adversity all the time. We started the game awfully well, almost scored just before that moment, and then obviously we lose a key player, and in those kind of circumstances. So, this lot are nothing if not resilient. They just keep going, and they did today. Yeah.
So to the game, you said in your pre-match, whatever energy they've got, they will give it. They absolutely did, didn't they?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They have been, and it's incredible when you think of, we've got a couple of 18-year-olds out there, one playing out of position, a left back who's not a left back, a goalkeeper making his debut. The boys gave everything. We had to work hard, and even at the end of the game, they've put on some significant talent. We can't make those changes, but the guys kept going. We've got a deserved goal over it.
Yeah, your goalkeeper, young goalkeeper, 21, Antonin Kinski. I mean, he's going to fit right in, isn't he? What a confident lad.
Yeah, no, we kind of sensed that. I certainly did when I had my first chat to him before we signed him, and it's a big part of it. When you're thinking about, maybe I downplayed it before the game, but that's a big occasion for a young man. First time out of the country in such a significant game against a massive opponent. He handled himself outstandingly.
Yeah, and when you say and have said through the difficult moments, there's a team in there. You see that with the young players tonight. I mean, Lucas Bergvall, is not just the goal.
Outstanding. He was. Yeah, I mean, I've just seen so much growth. It's just that's been masked by our poor form, our results. But I've got no doubt we'll get through this period, and we'll get our players back. And what we'll have found is, in the meantime, we've got some real players ready to sort of turn us into the team we want to be.
How much did you enjoy the goal? Not just the finish, but the work from Dom Solanke is top draw.
Yeah, unbelievable. Again, I don't know where he gets the energy from, and at times I feel sorry for him. Just to give him a bit of a break, but he just keeps soldiering on. Against two pretty big centre halves there, and he still had the composure and. Unbelievable finish. Look, I thought we deserved it on the night. There was fine margins. The offside was, just so close. We had a great chance before that. I think we deserved the victory, and really pleased the players get rewards.
Yeah, I could see you shaking your head when the goal was disallowed. Is that just general dislike of VAR? Did you spot something particular or specific with that decision?
If you're under any sort of illusions, total dislike.
Not a fan.
No, that hasn't changed. And if people think that announcement tonight added anything to the game, I'm sorry.
Was that the head shaking? Is that the reason?
Well, I mean, really, just get on with it, mate. It used to be, you put your flag up and the game goes on. But anyway, doesn't matter.
Yeah, listen, look, I know before I asked this, you've had more than your fair share of bad luck. Did you get a slice of luck with the goal? Is Lucas Bergvall lucky to be on the pitch?
Yeah, great question. No, he wasn't. He wasn't because
Why?
because again, people misinterpret my comments from the other day. The rule is, and we've been told for quite a while now, that if advantage gets played, as long as it's not a cynical tackle, then the yellow card doesn't. Because we've been screaming for it for the last 2 months. It's happened to us consistently. Have a look at our games, and we've asked the officials, and they've said if we play advantage, as long as it's not a cynical tackle, then the yellow card doesn't get paid. Now, to me, that was pretty clear.
Okay, so it's lucky you didn't get your way and no one listened then.
No, I'm saying, well, that's the rule. So we had the copper for the last 6 weeks, and we kind of abided by the rules today.
So given the context, everything around, I know it's only half time, but this goes down as a special night, doesn't it?
It does, because the players get rewarded for, what they've been through for the last 2 months. And yeah, you're right. We haven't sort of done anything. It's only half time, and going to Liverpool's not easy, but just that feeling of having a really strong victory against a top opponent. I want the players to feel good about it, because they've put in a massive shift this last couple of months with little reward, and it hasn't been through the want of trying.
And that second season trophy just a little bit closer.
All right. Yeah. Well, people can keep sort of mocking me about it.
I'm absolutely not doing that.
We'll see.
Well, there you go. Ange Postecoglou there. He's a character, isn't he? He's an absolute character.
I love him, I love him,
He's Marmite, isn't he? Some will love him, some will hate him. And the reality is, he does stand by his players. He fights for his players. He cares about his players. And you know what, Ange? Making that point there with regards to the fact of the notion around, Bergvall should have been sent off. We're going to come on to that, of course, in due course very, very shortly. But the reality is that, look, Ange Postecoglou will defend his players. And we're talking about players, being absolutely thrown into a lion's den. That's exactly what Tottenham did, right? Just to be very, very clear. And, Spurs, they threw in new signing Anton Kinski straight in for his debut. Spurs, of course, welcome Liverpool for that first leg of the semi-final. Postecoglou had back for a little bit of a while Rodrigo Bentancur from suspension, with James Maddison and Pat Matasar out for the same reason. Lucas Bergvall, of course, impressed against Newcastle at the weekend, which led to him getting another chance in midfield alongside Yves Bissouma. 17-year-old Mikey Moore was back on the bench for the first time in a couple of months after coming from a virus that had wiped out a massive chunk of his season. January signing Min-hyuk was among the subs for the first time, but the match had come too soon for Richarlison, who faces yet another week on the touchline. Indications are Richarlison should be back for the North London derby against Arsenal this time next week. How quickly those 7 days fly by. That Tottenham team red: Kinski, Porro, Dragish in grey, Spence, Bentancur, Bissouma, Bergvall, Kulusevski, Solanke, Som, with a bench of Austin, Reguilon, Dorrington, Olasise, Young, Moore, Werner, Johnson, Lancashire. For Liverpool, they made a couple of changes, but look, still a decent Liverpool side in there. They start with Alisson, Van Dijk, McAllister, Salah, Jones, Gakpo, Jota, Tsimikas, Gravenberch, Kwanzaa, Bradley. Kwanzaa, of course, also having to come off early in that game, and of course, joining Bentancur too. Also, some news to bring to you. Heung-Min has been handed the famous number 18 shirt at the football club. Many will know 18 synonymous with the likes of Harry Kane, Jermaine Defoe, Jurgen Klinsmann. So it's a big number to wear. He's got the weight of the 18. Let's see how he does get on. But I meant that point earlier on, that a couple of minutes into the game, you had Kinski putting the ball over his head, picking it up. I mean, God, it did feel like he was this kind of typical Ange sign, and that was cool, calm, collective. And he had to make a very early save from, I'm trying to make a very early save. He had to make a very, very early save. At the other end, Dragashin as well forced Alisson into a very, very early save too, in what was a decent start to the game from Tottenham. And, a game that, let's be honest about it, was fairly cagey to begin with. I heard a lot of people suggesting it wasn't as entertaining as what they hoped it was going to be. I think many were hoping for another 6-3 classic. But, again, we make this point. Credit to Ange Postecoglou, who did tighten things up. It was a much more steady, a much more controlled, a much more mature, a more patient performance. And to be fair, that first half was really full of a lot of disruption. And we know Ange absolutely hates disruption. Obviously, that concern of a Bentancur, that will bring you more on it as far as we know. And, for a test of Kinski for the first time, a difficult bouncing ball, Dragashin left it for him. The young keeper got it up over his head and called it. And a bit of very calm play there. Michael Dawson was calling him kinky at half-time. I mean, that first half, guys, to be honest with you, the good thing is it's not a huge amount of talking points because, to be fair, it was a first half of really few and far between chances. I mean, the notion that was being played out, for those out there on broadcast was the fact this is not a very entertaining game. But, I mean, I bring it back to the fact, Cracks, coming over to you, maybe that's exactly what Ange Postecoglou wanted. He wanted a much more controlled, a much more mature, a much more steady performance with one that it would be about taking our opportunities when they come along, Cracks. Is that what you said earlier and what you made that point? Ange adapted to the game itself.
Well, we're all sat here with big smiles on our faces now because we've beat Liverpool 1-0. So,
well, Ricky said I can't get excited, so I've got to calm down.
So let the press, moan and groan that they haven't. But they haven't had their 10-goal thriller this evening. But we've had a 1-0 win tonight. It's as simple as that. And it was a little less gun-ho and it was a little less basketball-esque. And okay, so the press don't get their like crazy end-to-end lunacy that we sometimes see. But we've come off at the end of the game with a famous 1-0 victory and a well-fought, well-deserved victory as well. So, sod the press, really, Rick. If they've not had what they wanted, tough tits. We've got the result.
Just be careful. We've got Hartman coming in for the transfer updates. Sod the press. They go to transfer window. We'll go to the summer straight away. We'll move on.
Yeah, well, I've been telling one or two of your usual transfer window guests what I think of them in the last week anyway, with one or two of their tweets.
Between you and Jason, we have no bloody contributors left.
Yeah, well, okay. So me and Jason will have to come on and do the transfer shows then, wouldn't we?
I think I prefer
that. me, Jason, and the bin, flip top bin. Yeah, it was great. That Ange's interview there. This is like, if you want me to nitpick, one thing with Ange is that he's gone off again this evening, isn't he? Over the yellow card decision thing, and he's. Look, I know that they all do it, but he just needs to learn to play them a little bit because they know now there's this very short Tinder dry fuse, and they go through the cage with the stick, don't they? And off he goes. Now they're laying traps for him, Rick, in the press. This is the press for you because he will give you that perfect 30 seconds firework moment because he's been poked, which goes beautifully into a tweet that goes out on Sky Sports News, on TalkSport, on Paddy Power and everybody else. So now they're laying traps for him with these little things. He just needs to find a little bit more of a sophistication when he gives an answer, but still get that point over. I might be pissing in the wind here, Rick, looking for that because, as people have said, he's an Australian and this is they're just straight talkers. So it might be something that we just have to live with. But he must have the press man pulling his hair out sometimes. That when he's had that poke in the ribs question, and all of a sudden you can see his eyes glaze over. He goes like a shark, doesn't he? The eyes blacken over, and that's it. Off he goes. The press man must be like, oh, here he goes. Oh, they've poked him, and he's had it. Just learn to deal with that a little bit, smile sweetly, and just go, all right, mate, and just move on.
Listen, I mean, I can tell you, being surrounded by the Greeks in my life for the last 15 years, that they've got a certain temperament to them where, look, she's sleeping right now. I can say this and get away with it. She doesn't listen to this, does she? Or watch it? I don't think she does. They've got a certain, let's just say, fiery tone at certain times, and when you've just got to calmly, take them out for sushi once a week, calm them down, keep them on the right side. You know what I'm talking about, Cracks? Just the Latino heritage. That just is—it's a fiery.
No, Rick, I've got no clue what you're talking about.
Absolutely not.
Mrs. Cracknell ever does watch this? No, I've got no clue. I'm not with you on this at all. No, I'm not having that at all. Yeah.
Nah, they're beautiful. Beautiful. Wouldn't change it for the world. Wouldn't change it for the world. What are you talking about? They're not stubborn or they don't adapt. What are you on about? They don't adapt. Are you crazy? What are you talking about?
Someone's on the couch tonight. Get comfy on that couch. Go and get yourself the quilt from the spare room.
Of course I'm on the bloody couch. The kids are in the bed. Right. We'll come to the half-time at that point, can I just say, Dal, we'll come to you. Sorry. Look what I'm doing to the two finest actors of the world and a Compère over there. We've got to try and compose them now. Take them back through casting. Dal, you know what? We had a chance for Sonny as he hit a low ball across the box. Solanke tried to drag it into the back post. I mean, a chance really a few and far between opportunities in that first half. 11 minutes of added on time. I mean, going into the halftime, Dal, look, you know, we had a couple of nice moments. Kingsky's with a lovely pass out to Sonny, which led to a chance. You had Postecoglou clapping him before the end of that first half. But I think the feeling going into halftime was that it was a solid first half. The only negative was the horrible injury that Bentancur suffered. But Bergvall was really growing in stature in that game as we got to half-time. Did you truly feel that when you watched that Liverpool side, they were there for the taking? Because I think the notion was at half-time that maybe Spurs missed an opportunity in that first half to really get to Liverpool because that wasn't a Liverpool side playing at their absolute maximum, despite the fact you might argue they were growing towards the end of that first half. What was your thoughts going into half-time, Dal?
My feelings were we had played well. I want us to continue playing that way, but I was also aware that you could get the beast awake, or you could awake the beast in Liverpool, and suddenly it all starts clicking. And that was my fear. That was my fear at halftime. I was like, we're playing great. Let's keep playing that way, and hopefully we could nick one, because Liverpool, there was a goal in the game for us. There was one to take. And as the second half progressing, we didn't take the chances we got early. I was more concerned. But at halftime, I was like, keep doing this. And hopefully we don't wake the beast that Liverpool had inside them.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I mean, that first half, as we know, despite the amount of disruption we had, I think the reality is that going into half-time, there would have been a feeling that when we had that 6-3 game, for example, the concern was we had to keep things tight. We had to keep things more composed. And to be fair, the way Spurs, again, approach a second half, you're never too sure what you're going to get. And, you know, again, I think what really, I think, came to me on this point was, I mean, Rick's bringing it over to you, that Bentancur injury for me really did affect the players a lot. You know, you mentioned actually in your opening piece the way they were fighting for him, you know, as a brother, really, as a soldier that was lost in battle there. And, you know, again, you look at the early chance of that second half, we had that really good opportunity where you ask, how did it not go in with Pedro Porro? And football is defined by what Crack says a lot on this show is moments, isn't it? Football is about moments. It's about taking opportunities. And you know what? When the Pedro Porro one doesn't go in, and just for, you know, again, context of that opportunity Spurs had, it should have been 1-0. Bergvall played a brilliantly pressed Alisson. He almost after wins the ball back the first time. He started successfully on a second attempt. He plays in Porro, but he chips wide. And Porro had his hands over his mouth in shock. And, you know, the opportunity Porro had, you know, even led to Ange Postecoglou absolutely gutted on the bench there for many that say. He's bent over, not for the first time. I've got to be careful what I say on this show. We are past midnight. You know, audio won't get that. The viewers will watching the show live because there was a picture of Ange Postecoglou on all fours like a dog. Did you see where this is going? Rick, save me here. Big chance of the game that went begging for Tottenham.
The number you have called has not been recognised. Please hang up and try again.
I mean, I think it might be at this time of night you call that number.
Oh, bro. I mean, what an opportunity. What a chance. Again, you know, a reason why Bergvall was man of the match tonight. Again, tenacity, you know, fight, will. Goes and grabs that ball off of Alisson, like you say. And then it was just so unfortunate that Porro couldn't score and get that chip, you know, as precisely as he can. You know, when it falls to him in certain areas, you kind of feel it. And we know he's got a shot on him. We know he loves a worldie. So it was just like, it was really unfortunate that it didn't go in, man. So I you know, that disappointment, it wasn't just that opportunity. It's the last 6 to 8 weeks, mate. It's missing those opportunities where we should have scored, and then we go on to not win that game, you know. And I think it was a collective like, but you know what? They didn't let it get to them. They picked themselves back up, and they got back up got back at it and continued to fight. And again, it's like, what can you say, man? It's like that new goalkeeper today, man. I mean, I was just it shows you what a difference a ball playing keeper
Goalkeeper. Yeah, totally agree.
it does for our game. I remember when we switched, we had Vicky in goal at one point, and then we switched to Forster, I think, for one of the European games. And it was almost night and day. And that's why I was worried about Forster, being in there for a long period of time. But credit to him, he's done well at certain points, but you can see the difference that an actual,
ball playing goalkeeper makes. Totally agree.
He's been brought up to play that way. He ain't adapting. He's been brought up to play that way. And like you said there with the first touch where he knocks it over, who is it, Jota? And
ridiculous, really, wasn't it?
That's a natural thing. So I think it's it was just a fantastic night, and for so many different reasons. And I just had to get that in there about the keeper because he just blew me away tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you can't help but be praising of him. We have obviously that opportunity with Porro, and you do think, will another one come round? Liverpool make a triple sub on the hour mark. Alexander-Arnold, Nunes and Diaz all sent on for Bradley, Gakpo and Jota. And again, we make that point. You can't help but feel both teams are kind of incentivised to kind of get through the game. And then maybe an argument to kind of take it to Anfield. I'm not sure Tottenham fans would have felt like that, but the fact the game was 0-0, I always say in football, over 90 minutes, you never know what's going to happen. And, again, we talk about crucial moments and cracks. We mentioned moments in games that can change them. This moment from Radu Dragusin where he improvises, to be fair to him, where it's an incredible block on the line to deny Alexander-Arnold. And you know what, cracks? They sometimes say that your name's on the cup, and it's not the first time in the competition where we've had this situation where a player has blocked one off the line. We had Ben Davies against Coventry. We had Basuma against Man City. We're now having Dragusin against Liverpool. Is something happening here, cracks, or am I going too early on this?
No, you get moments in cups, don't you, like this? Those the sort of pivotal moments where you get a few little bits go your way. Liverpool against Wimbledon. Nobody gave Wimbledon a prayer, but they hung in there and done what they done. Coventry, Tottenham, one hits Gary Mabbott's knee, goes loops in, and that's it. So sometimes in cup games you get moments, and you can get through cup rounds with a little bit of luck and a little bit of sort of this and that. You don't get that in a league because you kind of end up where your form dictates. But with cups, that's the magic of the cup, isn't it? That you get these moments that happen, and that Dragusin clearance off the line may be just one of those moments. You look back and go, blimey, on another day that drops in, and it's totally changed things. So, but like we've been saying, it's half time. We've got to go up there. Liverpool will now be quite angry because of another refereeing decision. Quite weirdly, everything that sort of seems to have happened between us and Liverpool, even from the Champions League final with it was never a handball. The game where their goal was clearly onside, and then there was the Jota where he should have gone, but he stayed on and scored the winner. And then you've got the Bergvall one tonight. Nothing has actually ever been a Liverpool player per se or a Tottenham player that's actually done something. It's been the refereeing decision or the officials' decisions around it, but it's sort of created this little bit of a thing that's now gone on between us. And I remember Liverpool fans being really, really upset with like Tottenham fans over that goal that was onside but was chalked off as offside, and it was like, well, that's not down to us. This is down to the officials. And again, tonight. So maybe, just maybe. It was. I mean, that shot from Alexander-Arnold was sensational, and my eldest lad Will, who's over visiting on holiday at the moment, he actually pointed out something Alan Smith said. But Alan Smith was saying, "Oh wow," he said that, you know, the game's really changed since Alexander-Arnold came on. Will just said, yeah, he came on at 0-0 and now we're 1-0 up. So yeah, things did. I mean, just such a ridiculous observation. It really was, like, you know. So, but let's see, Rick. I mean, we was all fearing this evening a walloping, you know, even at home. So to go up there with 1-0, what we can't do, Rick, is go up there and try and defend that 1-0 lead. I mean, I'm going to.
Are you saying you want? This is who we are, mate. You want to
look? I know this is going to have Jason tearing his hair out, but he hasn't got. But if we go up there and try and do something completely un-Ange, I mean, like, you know, just go full on Conte, we will get walloped. It's just one of these things now. It's a cup game. We may as well just go up there and give it a go and see what comes from it.
Do you mean to try out? Do you want to try and outscore him?
Listen, if we play like we did tonight with that level of balance, of a little bit more caution and a bit of Ange ball as well, then we've got a chance, but we're going up there 1-0 up. So let's see. It's that first 15, 20 minutes when we go up there in that second leg. You know, we've just got to hold them, haven't we? Yeah. Like Michael Owen once said, you have to score to win a game of football.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. That's what you're paid. That's what you paid the big bucks for these days.
That's what great. That's great insight, isn't it? So
wonderful. Absolutely.
Let's see, Rick. It might be on Empire's turn on such moments and all that.
Absolutely. Totally agree on that. Now, you know what, Dale, I've got to come over to you. We talk about, again, big moments in games. You know, actually, before that moment with Dragoshin, a big save from Kinski to deny Nunes. Spurs have made a decision to bring Werner on for Sonny. Obviously, Sonny just on the back of exercising Spurs that extension to his contract for a further 12 months. And there are reports that Sonny would like to have maybe seen a longer contract negotiated. And I think that we all know about Sonny right now, not in the best run of form. I think we all back Sonny to find a way through it. You know, he's been at this club for over a decade. What the guy's always given to the football club and the amount of goals that he scored. And, you know, we know with Sonny, he's always got the ability to turn it on. So we've got to hope. So, look, if anyone like Ange actually before the game, God deserves silverware at this football club, it's Heung-Min Son. It deserves silverware, it's him. But Dale, I want to ask you about the incident which saw Spurs have a goal disallowed. A superb ball sent by Porro, who again is in these recent weeks really got hold of the ball and played some wonderful deliveries into the box. Through to Solanke, he kept his composure. Had it counted, it would have been his 12th goal of the season. And again, another goal against Liverpool. But unfortunately, VAR checked it. It was offside, close one. We got Stuart Atwell to explain it on the pitch over the speakers. And Solanke went a fraction too early. And to be fair to Alexander-Arnold, he did step up well, despite as a cracker's young boy there, Tom saying, didn't really do much when he was on the field. But we make the point here, Dal, that, again, this is moments in games. This would have, I think, really upset the team to have not scored. And again, what you're asking, Dal, is for a reaction. So in that moment, again, is this showing the resilience of this group that we get that setback of the goal not being given and we've got to go again and find it, Dal?
It shows that their togetherness and their ability to keep going, as they've shown week in, week out during this horrible period we've been going through. It's the unity of this side. Ange is creating a belief system that they're all buying into. And this moment, Dom Solanke this season he's ran to the moon and back for Tottenham, for Ange, for the shirt, for the fans. This is a player who is a striker by himself. There's no respite for him. There's no game off. And God bless him. He has done so much for the system to work. Like we highlighted today, having a ball-playing goalkeeper makes the system work. There are elements to the system that when they're not there, you really go, handball doesn't work. But when they are in place, they work. And a forward like Solanke makes it work. And I know we're going to get onto the next part when we get there, the goal. But what Dom brings to us, I don't think you can really put a measure on it. And I know people talk about the press getting sensible and dropping off and then going into handball. Handball is double. It's both of those elements. When we drop deeper, there's a trap that is set and it's very well executed where Solanke instigates and goes, we go now, and 3 of them go. And it's a hard press to get out of, but it's being cemented and grown. And the players are getting more confident in doing it because they understand it. And anybody in our Spurs camp who wants to give Heung-Min Son any bad press, leave the guy alone. He's an absolute legend and he deserves that contract extension. He may have wanted longer. We may have bought his replacement. And the young man who has come in and he's wearing my number, by the way, 18 is my number. Klinsmann, Defoe, you all took my number.
Sorry, Dale. That's the iconic man. I forgot Hartman at the top there.
That's
Sorry,
right. You
Dale.
forgot me. I was upset. I was a little bit upset.
Yeah,
and then he went and got the shirts and laid them out. But don't worry, that's my number.
I'll take it to HR. Don't worry. We'll sort it out.
We'll do. But we have to respect what this guy brings to the club, what he's done for the club. You're absolutely right. He deserves to be up there holding a trophy at some point in our shirt. And when he's not at his best, absolutely, he does. He is running himself into the ground again at his age as well. And he always wants to give his best for Tottenham. He loves being there. So when he's down, rather than shoot him, let's lift him. You know what I mean? Let's lift him. And Dom Solanke, again, is carrying anybody who's slacking in that team. He's a man who does legwork for everyone. I'm so glad we got him.
Totally agree. Look, it is one of those games where you could quite convincingly go through the whole team and everybody had a contribution. But look, we'll come 100%. On to the man that got the crucial goal in the end, and a man that, to be fair, has found his way to this Spurs team. You know, let's be honest about it. I think when you looked at the way he came into the league and came into games, I think there may have been a little bit of a concern whether he'd be able to adapt this season. But to be fair, what I would say about Lucas Bergvall is that from what you've seen progressively week on week, that he is growing, he's building, he's maturing into the player that many knew he was going to be. And Rick's look is a first goal for Spurs for him. There is that argument from Liverpool fans that he's a lucky boy to still be on the pitch after that late tackle, which would have brought him a second yellow card, had played, not continued. But look, a great run again from, like Dal says, Solanke before turning and planning the sweet to fire home. And what a time, Rick, to score his first goal for the football club. And if that goal contributes to seeing Tottenham at Wembley for a final, I mean, what a first season he'd be having at the football club, Rick.
Oh, beautiful, bro. Beautiful. And you know what? I will jump onto Bergvall in a second. But you know what Darren was saying just there, bro? It reminded me of something that is a few examples of how we have progressed during the season. I don't know whether you remember the preseason. I think it was against QPR where there was a camera in the dressing room. And Ange was just talking about the next action. Doesn't matter whether we score or whether we go behind. It's all about the next action. And I think like today was an example of that. There was a moment in the first couple of games, I can't remember who it was against, but I think we went 1-0 down and there was an emotional reaction. There was an anger there. There was a petulance there. And that was half of the reason why we lost the game that we did. I want to say it was Palace. But that was part of the reason that we lost that game is because we wasn't thinking about the next action. We were thinking about our own emotion in that, in that moment. And so today, when the goal got ruled off for offside, it didn't affect them. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, cool. We keep going. And I think that's a great sign of growth. And for Bergvall to get that goal tonight, you know, like we've said during the show, he has been growing week in, week out. Of course he has. But like you say, it was such an important goal in, such an important game. It's such an important time in the season. And I think that's just going to send him on, bro. I think that's going to send him on leaps and bounds. And we got to be careful with young ones. They have dips as well as they have the highs. But I think that's definitely going to push him on and give him some confidence that he can do it in this league against one of the best sides going. So I think he's got a very bright end of the season coming. And fingers crossed he just builds on it and continues to think about the next action.
Yeah, totally agree. And just to bring you in, Cracks, on this point, age 18, 341 days, he is Tottenham's youngest goal scorer in the League Cup since Gareth Bale versus Middlesbrough in September of 2007 at 18 years old, 72 days. I mean, what an impression, what a moment for him, Cracks. A young player that, to be fair, as we made that point there, has been growing week upon week in the Spurs shirt. How much will that give him the confidence, Cracks, to know he's arrived in this league now and arrived in this competition, which could see Spurs reach a final for, as you know, it's been a very, very long time?
Yeah, he's definitely improved. When he first came in, he was looking every inch like the Swedish Winks, wasn't he? He was a bit like, what have they seen in this lad? But the last 6 months, he's
Crack, you didn't know one of Costa. You didn't know one of Costa.
Yeah, the Swedish Winks, isn't it? It's
He definitely said that.
Copyright. Copyright Anthony Costa, isn't it? Yeah, I'm having that. Thanks, Ant. I'll send you some royalties, a bit of PRS.
It's the first time an Ant Stats made this show, I'll tell you.
But he looks like in the last 6 months, Rick, that he's not only filled his shirt sort of mentally and his capabilities and what he can do, also physically, he looks like he's begun to sort of bulk out a little bit as well. He looks like, a bit of gym work's beginning to pay off, and he just looks a little bit more of a stature around him. And as he's sort of grown physically, he seems to have also grown as a player and maturity, and he's just beginning to sort of come to grips now with what's expected and demanded off of him. So if that trajectory continues, then I think we've got another very, very decent young player. Sure, he's going to have the dips, kids of that age, and like I said, they are kids. So he is going to have ups and he is going to have downs. It's how he comes back from when he has had a poor game and he needs to clear his head and go again in the next one, that next moment, that next action. But like I always say to you as well about Bergvall, Rick, I hate him. You can't be that good looking and a professional footballer as well. And for that, I absolutely hate him for it, because you could be one or the other, not both. It's just unfair to old fat men like me that never made it in football. Like, why has he got both? If you're a great footballer, you should be ugly.
Yeah, but he doesn't get to talk to Terry Naylor, does he? Or Harry Redknapp?
Exactly. Exactly.
We know who's really winning here, didn't we? We know who's really winning here. We do. Again, we'll debate this point. Absolute credit to Solanke for the build-up to that goal, as Dow actually said. I mean, Bergvall, look, maybe a bit lucky this down the field. We won't care. Liverpool not happy, but he has been absolutely terrific. And again, a first goal for the football club. And I will just make this point again, just to bring that balance that we always want for the show. Ange Postecoglou's name being sung very, very loudly by the big South stand towards the end of that game. Yep, the crowd fully behind Ange Postecoglou. I think it's the first time in definitely the last month that we've heard big Ange Postecoglou chants being at home. And really Kinski finishing the night the way he started it with another terrific save to deny Nunes again. Just absolutely top 10 performances elsewhere. And I can't help but think I must have called Kinski kinky a few times in the show. So Michael Dawson, that is your fault. But boys, I want to say it's been an absolute cracking show. It's been over 10,000 of you amazing viewers and listeners that have watched this show live. Quite incredibly, the support we've had for this show. Again, I think of the audio days when we just hover around, as we remember back in the audio days. Rick, remember those days? Oh, those audio days, I tell you, they were, again, mad times. The Amazon filming, all that was going on, and where this show has been on the journey, has been remarkable. But look, like I said, if we can get to Wembley, be all together to witness our beloved Tottenham lifting a cup, I think that's all we will care about. So the final question to ask you boys is, can we do it? I mean, Cracks, I'll start with you. You've seen many cup finals in your time, many of semi-finals in your time. Look, let's be honest about it. Going to Anfield under any circumstances won't be easy. We go there with a slender advantage. We've seen some of the best teams in the world go to Liverpool with 3-0 leads, Barcelona's, Real Madrid's, and still not be able to hold on. What will it take, Cracks, for us to see this through at Anfield? Can we do it with all that history, with all that ability of winning, with Arnie Slot in the form that he's been in this season, a first defeat in 24 games? Is this the start of their demise, potentially?
The one big overriding thing that we need going now is the belief that we can go there and do it. We absolutely have to believe. We have to forget the weight of history. I think we've only ever won there 14 times. The great managers we've had haven't gone there and excelled. Bill Nick never really did. Keith Birkinshaw certainly never. Poch didn't. Nobody has gone there. Very, very few teams ever go there and have a good record at Anfield. So, but you know, that weight of history has to be put aside, and we have to go there and believe that we can do it. If we go there with doubt and fear, then we are definitely not doing it. So we have to go there with a mindset of believing that we can. Not only the team, us as fans. We can be derided after with ha, you thought you was going to go there and get something. Ride it, take it on the chin. But we all have to go there with a positive attitude of doing it and getting there. If we do, and Newcastle get through and past Arsenal as well, then it's us versus Newcastle in the final. And we've already shown that we can give them a game. I'd be more fearful if we make it. I'm more hopeful when we play a team that want to play football rather than a Palace or an Ipswich or somebody that's just going to come and put the blocks up. When we go against teams that go toe to toe, we can excel. We've shown this season that we can actually go to these teams and take it to them because it suits us. So just go with some belief. Go with some belief. If it happens, happy days. If it doesn't, there was nothing wrong with having the belief that it could happen.
Cracks, I can't thank you enough. He was meant to be on the subs bench warming up for Tamworth. We've brought him back out. Cracks, we've done a hamstring, have we? Are we okay? You okay?
All good, mate. All good. So I am, mate.
He's ended the night quoting the man. You can't believe it. He wouldn't even speak to him about it. He wouldn't even say his name a week ago. So this bloody this football club. There you go. So Cracks, to answer it, you think we can do it? Can we do it? You think we can do it?
Yeah, we can do it. We can do it. We absolutely can do it. So, as I said to you, it's all about going up there and just holding everything together for that first 15, 20, 25 minutes. Don't give them a sniff. Quieten the crowd down. Frustrate them a little bit. If we get through that first 20, 25 minutes and we're in the game, then we absolutely can do it. Because we can score. We can score goals. Home and away, we've got some players there that can punish teams. So if we go there, nick another one, wow, game on, Rick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, on that point, Cracks, I can't thank you enough. We're going to see you for Tamworth on Sunday, which now looks a much more winnable game than it did a week ago, I must just say. That's just typical Spurs mentality. I mean, why am I worried about Tamworth? I'm a Tottenham fan. Richard there from Melbourne says, and you'll go to Anfield to win. Don't you want to be entertained? Richard, thank you so much. Listen, let's turn our attention to the actors to close this show. Two of the residential therapists on here, one that we've missed since he's been with Netflix, who's having a bloody good time. Glad to say, the funny thing is, Rick decided to take the month off where the whole football club was falling through its arse. The good thing is, though, Rick was having a good time on Instagram. You know, bearing in mind the club was going through an absolute shower of shite. Ricky was having a great time on Instagram, absolutely loving life and getting away from it. So, Rick, congratulations to you. You and Macca have both gone away for the toughest period, and you're coming back for the hopefully good part of the season.
Ricky, just quickly.
I was working. You know what?
I didn't like working. Get you away from the football club. That's what I'm going wrong.
Just quickly, you do know you could make a Netflix series out of Kinski's coming to Tottenham and tonight's game. There's a Netflix series. I'm saying 100%. if we can dye Ricky J. Norwood's hair slightly sort of blonde ginger, I'm having him playing the role of Kinski in the Netflix series. The three days at Spurs, it'll be called. It'll be a winner. It'll be the next one being promoted like Squid Games.
On that point, let's stick with Rick's and we'll close on Hartman. Rick, we've gone way over time as what we always do on this show. So my apologies of that. If I had the game management of this show, then we'd all be winning. So my apologies for this. Ricks, to come with you. Listen, I know you think we're going to go through. I know you think we can win it because I know you. I've known you for the last 7-8 years. I know what you're going to tell me. But the thing I'm going to ask you is, with the fact that we're going to go there and win, what are we going to do that's going to make us win? There you go. A nice, easy one to close on. What's going to do that's going to make us win the game?
I think, having some players coming back, I think, this transfer window is going to be really important. And I think the galvanization of going through the fire and brimstone that they have done over these last 6 to 8 weeks is going to see them right. It has to flip. I was talking to my dad today and I was saying to him, he was like, I just don't have much faith. I don't know who's going to turn up. And I was like, I can feel it changing. I can just feel it changing. And look at that. One element of change, one new bit of change in the goalkeeper. And look how different we looked as a side. You know what I mean? So it is changing. There are bright days ahead. Ange does have a fantastic way about him. And I think his way will get us there. I really do. I really think his way will get us there. We just got to, like Crackers was saying there, stand together and believe and go there and kind of will them and shout them and sing them and roar them over the line. Like, let's get them over that line.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, I've never backed my team, never will and never have backed my team to lose at any game, at any time. And I won't do it now. I think we'll go there. I think it'll be a tough game. But I think we'll come out victorious, and I think we'll be going to Wembley. Fingers crossed, man. It is going to be special, and I think this season's going to be special. I don't think we can go through all that and it just be nothing. There are changes happening, and for all of the hard work, they always say pays off, right? So something's got to come for us, man. So
I mean, it's from my heart, Rick. I mean, it's from my heart when I say this to you, someone that I've known for 8 years as well, or 8, 10 years, nearly a decade. That you're putting up with me. I mean, bear in mind, we haven't seen you for a few months. It kind of makes sense, really. The reality is, look, for fans like you that are always so ever so positive about the football club, that only see the good in maybe there's certain situations of ugly and bad going on. I don't mean in a disrespectful way, but you always take a positive out of a negative. This is what I want it for fans like you that have gone through, as we've all done, a lot of suffering over the last 17, 18 years in footballing terms. It would be great to see this club lift something. And to go on this point, can I just say, Rick, you've been amazing. We love you and we're having you back for more very, very soon. Dow, if Tottenham go through, can I just say on this point, this is so Tottenham, right? We could be on the journey to winning a cup, right? You go from this Coventry, look, one easy game, we could have been out of at the very, very end, but we beat Man City, we beat Man United, we beat Liverpool, and you've got a Liverpool obviously in the semi-final, and you still going to have Arsenal in the final. You do know the football purists will turn around and say, yeah, but it's only the Carabao Cup. This is what makes me laugh. You won't be able to please everybody, but the reality is that for a mental over-hurdle of what this club is trying to do and trying to achieve, this would be massive, Dow. I know you are only going to bring me positive vibes here to close this show. What do we need, in your opinion, to go there and beat Liverpool at Anfield? When I mentioned the point, Real Madrid, Barcelona's of this world, Ajax of this world, they've gone to Liverpool with leads, with commanding, opportunities to close games off. They haven't done it. How are we going to do it? Because I know you're going to tell me we are. How are we going to do it? And again, we've got Mickey Van der Ven, Romero, potentially Ben Davies and Vicario coming back as well for this fixture.
I've tweeted this afternoon, hoping for hope. Today, we got the hope. They gave it to us. We could be going to Anfield after being battered today, out of the tie, nothing to play for. We go there with a 1-0 win. So remember this, Spurs fans, we don't have to win at Anfield. We don't have to win that game. We could draw that game and be through. And that's the thing about it. We've given ourselves the advantage. We're in a situation that we've never been in at Anfield, where we are in the driving seat. And right now, I'm looking at it going, it's all in our hands. Liverpool know what they're going to do, know what they're going to bring. But if we bring what we can do, we're in a game. There's no side out there that when we play our football, we can't cause problems. We will cause Liverpool problems. We've got to take it. And we've got to believe. And as a fan base, every fan who gets a ticket to travel to Anfield, believe. Every fan at home watching, believe. Ricky Sachs, you made a little comment. You said our name could be on this trophy with the luck that we've had going through. We have to believe it. We've got to believe that it's our chance to win it, because I was there. The last time Tottenham won a cup, I was in the stadium. I got to witness that moment. And
that was the
I
best
want
moment.
that again.
100%.
We deserve that again. But we
need
have
that
to
again.
believe
We need
it's
it.
going to happen.
Yeah. Now, honestly, can't thank you enough. Look at this. What a panel it's been. You know, we've reunited the Hartman and Norwood on a panel. We've got Ricky back for the first time in 3-4 months. You know,
bro, I've missed you, man. I've missed you
we've missed
all,
you
man. Thank you for having me back home.
They are, Rick. Honestly,
Always
mate. You
an
know,
honour and
it's
a
effortless.
pleasure.
It's effortless. Which one?
Ricky, you do know Sachs coming to you, Sachs.
I feel serious.
You do know if we do make this final, we may well just sack Ange 5 days before we plan it, mightn't we?
No, and lasagna is not going to be the pre-match meal either. Stop it, crackers.
I honestly tell you, I generally, honestly don't know what we're going to be like at a final. All I will say is that whether we are going to be on that final, we'll take last one, I suppose, with us somewhere, whether it's at Box Park, wherever we're going to be. Because I can tell you, I think we'll be intoxicated for a week. You know, as much as I love last one, I suppose, and we do this show, I can't see myself going, right, let's jump on straight after full time and we won a bloody cup. I think we'll be out somewhere. And I think we will be out for a week. And I think, I'll live to see it, I'll be honest with you. But listen, we are only halfway through the tie. We've still got a full 90 and a bit to go. But we are halfway to Wembley. We are. I want to say a massive thank you to this unbelievable top tier panel. Richard Crackers Cracknell. We'll see you very soon for Tamworth. We'll see the Hartman back in Europe very, very soon. Quite literally, Ricky Norwood is back with us very, very soon. Oh, what a panel. From Crackers, from the Hartman, from Ricky J. Norwood, from a wonderful watching audience. Over 10,000 of you have watched this show live. Keep liking, keep subscribing, keep doing the good stuff out there. We'll get you very, very soon. Take care. And as always, all together.
Come on, you